Any good cutting board protects your countertop, keeps your knives from getting dull, and resists food contamination that can lead to food poisoning. But on a boat, it's got to do one more thing as well: not slip on the counter as the boat moves. Hi there, I'm Carolyn Sherlock, and on this episode of the Boat Galley podcast, I'll share a great option that I found for a cutting board that is wonderful on a boat. First, though, a quick word from our sponsor. Today's episode of the Boat Galley podcast is sponsored by Lunatech, makers of the hydration spray bottle, odor-free dishcloth, and a self-cleaning washcloth. Lunatech offers practical gear designed to save water and reduce waste. A water bottle that doubles as a high-pressure sprayer to rinse dishes off. A dishcloth that doesn't get stinky. Oh, yes, please. I love them both. Visit lunatechgear.com to learn more and use code BOATGALLEY to save 10% on everything. Lunatech has innovative gear for your outdoor adventures. Okay, so let's talk about buying a cutting board for a boat. It's not quite as simple as buying one for a house. I mean, the good cutting board protects your countertop, won't dull your knife, etc. But you've got to get it so it doesn't slip on the counter. And for that reason, my absolute favorite is the OXO Good Grips Cutting Board. That's OXO Good Grips Cutting Board. There's purchase links in the show notes. I get them on Amazon, so you can just go there too. Over the years, both on board and ashore, I've had a number of different cutting boards. My favorite by far is the OXO Good Grips. Now, number one thing you have to do before buying a cutting board is measure your counter space. I learned this the hard way. Galley counters do not have a standard depth, and you want to make sure that your board will fit on the counter you intend to use it on, and make sure it will fit into your sink for washing. I like to get as large of a board as I can fit on my counter so I can have the largest possible work surface. And if you don't have a separate fish cleaning station and will use your cutting board to fillet fish on deck, also make sure that it will fit in the space on deck that you have. The other option, of course, is to get a second board to use on deck for the fish filleting. That was actually what Dave and I did, because he would usually be doing part of the work and I'd be doing the other part at the same time. Okay, so why do I like these OXO boards so much? First of all, the polypropylene surface is non-porous. Food juices won't penetrate it, bacteria won't grow. Polypropylene surface won't dull knives like some hard plastic and tempered glass boards do. It doesn't retain odors of things like onions and garlic. It's got colored ends on it that are made of soft rubber, and that is what makes the board non-slip. It's a huge factor on the boat, whether you're underway in a rolling anchorage or in a place that has like jet skis coming by all the time. This is the feature that makes the OXO board so good. If you don't get the OXO, looking at other brands, make sure that there's something that'll make it non-slip. I also really like the OXO because the board is double-sided. One side has what they call a juice groove to catch the meat juices. That's obviously you'd cut your meats on that side. Then you can flip it over and cut everything else on the other side. That reduces the risk of cross-contamination and food poisoning for your crew. And believe me, you don't want to get food poisoning when you're a long ways away from medical help. You end up just having to go through it with whatever you have on board. The OXO Good Grips comes in 3 different sizes, each one half the size of the next one larger. There's a 15 by 21 inch. You're really lucky if that one will fit on your boat. It also has one that's 10.5 by 15 and then 7.5 by 10.5. That smallest one, if that's the only thing that'll fit, yeah, that's what you're going to have to use. But otherwise, the little bit larger one, that medium-sized one, is an awful lot happier for daily use. Regardless of what you do, get in the habit of always using a cutting board on board. My mom, all of her life, would basically cut things into the palm of her hand. On a boat that can move, that is just really, really scary. You don't want to do that. Get in the habit of using a cutting board and get a good one that won't slip. Okay, that's it for this episode of the Boat Galley podcast. It's kind of a short one. I I hope that we are doing our best here to help you confidently get out there and cruise. Feel like you know what you're doing. Please, if you like what we're doing here, subscribe and tell your friends that they should subscribe also. Until next time.